Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Rachel and I'm a craft producer for Maker's Gonna Learn, your ultimate die cutting community. If you would like to know who we are or what we do, go ahead and click the very first link in the description below. Not only do we have thousands of digital cut files and hundreds of fonts for you guys to take advantage of in our membership, but we also have amazing resources to learn your machine if you're a beginner, great printable guides to use throughout your Cricut journey. We have an amazing member-only Facebook group, free commercial licensing, and so much more. Click that link to see how you can become a part of our community. In today's video, we are going to be talking about hacks to work around that pesky size restriction for Cricut Print and Cut. If you have ever done a print and cut project, you know what we're talking about. You can only print and cut so big in Design Space, and the max size is not very great. You can only print and cut a maximum of 6.75 inches by 9.25 inches, and that is not a ton of space when your normal printer can take sheets of paper that are 8.5 by 11. So we have two different amazing hacks on how you can maximize your material and your time and efficiency when using print and cut. If you are brand spanking new and you are not sure what print and cut is, we urge you guys to go over to Maker's Gonna Learn and join that yearly membership so that you can gain access to this free course that comes along with that, all about mastering your Cricut in 30 days or less. This is an amazing course that has 30 different days with 30 videos teaching you everything you need to know, from opening your Cricut to making your first project, Design Space tips and tricks, troubleshooting advice, how to print and cut, work with all different types of vinyl. So many amazing things in this course. So if you do not know a lot about print and cut, that is where I would recommend you to start. We also have some free training on print and cut if you would like to see that. This is way more in-depth than any training we give you here on the channel, but if you are looking for a quick tutorial to get yourself jump started, I will have a couple of links down below for you guys to enjoy some other videos of ours. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in Design Space. Okay, here we are in Design Space, and we are going to be working with this adorable little pumpkin fall truck from our print and cut selection on Maker's Gonna Learn. This training that I'm teaching you all today can be used with anything that you are going to want to print and cut. It doesn't matter the design, it doesn't matter the size. This will work for anything that you choose to do. So what we're going to be doing today for the very first hack is to slice out your print and cuts before you send them to your printer and have your Cricut cut them and all of that good stuff. This is how you can make your print and cuts however large that you want. So let's just go ahead for the example today and use this truck here. I'm going to scooch this over. Let's make this truck here. Now, if you look at this truck over in the layers panel over here, you can see this caution symbol. So if you click on it, it will say, not supported. Image is too large. Reduce image size to 6.75 inches by 9.25 inches or less. So that is sad. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to create as big of a truck as we want. Let's say we're working with a piece of wood or something like that that's going to be our plaque that this will sit on, and we don't want it to be that small. We need it to be this large. So in order to use this, we're going to have to slice it. And what I mean by that is we're going to go and take a shape, grab a square here, and we're going to unlock this square. So you can unlock it up here. We're going to click unlock, and we're going to go 6.75, enter, and in the height we're going to go 9.25, enter. And now you can see we have a square that is the maximum amount that we can have a print and cut size. This is the largest size that you can print and cut. And over here is one that is just turned sideways. So this is 9.25 by 6.75, 6.75 by 9.25. So this is the same thing, just one is turned one way and one is turned the other. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take this in Design Space. Make sure that your size of your square is the max size of your print and cut, because let's just say if we had a square here, if we had another truck that was super large like this, we're going to have to slice several layers out of this. So let's get this one over here. We would have to slice this part, and then we would have to slice, you know, this probably be like 4 parts right here. So you would have to make sure that all the parts would still be able to fit in those size restrictions. So what we are going to be doing with this smaller one here, this one is a little over 10 by almost 5.5. So we're going to have to slice this guy out. So let's go ahead and bring him to the front. So we're going to send move to front, and as we can see here, this one almost fits. So instead of going ahead and fitting him in here just like this and only having this hay stick out to be able to attach later, think of it as you want this to attach more easily. Where is a different place on this truck where both parts can also be smaller than the maximum size restriction and it still be easier to apply. So let's go ahead and bring this in here, and I'm going to share with you my hack on this. Okay, here we go. So again, instead of leaving this out, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our truck over here, and we're going to slice it out here. We're going to slice it to where the back of the truck meets the front of the truck. This is going to be a much easier place to line up those seams of your vinyl, your heat transfer vinyl, or your paper, and be able to apply that seamlessly there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click both of these, select both of them. You can make sure they're both selected by looking here in the layers panel, and they are, and you can click slice. Now once you've clicked slice, you do not need this. Here is your other layer, and you don't need this right here. Now magically, guys, look in the layers panel. I do not see any more of those little caution symbols because these are all meeting the size restrictions. And now, guys, you can cut these separately and simply apply them after you print them, after you cut them, to look super seamless and gorgeous. Now, this is how it will look. We're going to go and we're going to erase this one because we already have one that's cut in the same exact place. We're going to delete that one, and now we're going to click Make It. So here's how it's going to look. It's going to have this part and then this part, okay? And so you're going to print and cut these on 2 different sheets of paper, and then be able to print those, cut those, and depending on your material, you will be able to bond those together, either by applying them, you know, with paper. All you have to do is line them up. With printable vinyl, you can lay one side down, line up the other side and lay it down. And if you're using printable heat transfer vinyl, we actually have an amazing video on how to line that up with some heat safe tape. That is a great video. I will link that down below. So no matter which material you are using, this is going to be so easy to line up. So you go through those motions. That is how you can beat that size restriction here in Design Space. It's a great little tip for you guys. So do the same thing if you have a design that is larger than this. Just make sure the square that you have in Design Space is no larger than the max size for print and cut, and you will be golden. It doesn't matter if it's in 5 different pieces. If you can be patient enough to be able to match them all up and make them look seamless, just like I did here in Design Space. This truck is in 2 different parts, and without barely trying, I was able to line it up to where you can't even tell that it's in 2 parts. You can do the exact same thing after it's already cut. And again, we do have a video all about attaching that together that you can watch down below. And guys, I'm going ahead and cutting these out so that we can give you a super easy visualization on this task at hand here. So I'm cutting these parts out, and then we're going to give you guys a lot of great tips and tricks. So I'm just going to cut this out, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so here is the back of the truck, and here's the front of the truck that we have already cut out. And look at the rest of this paper. Let's say, though, that this wasn't paper. Let's say that this was a sheet of new fun printable iron-on, or maybe it was a sheet of Cricut printable vinyl, something that would be a little bit more costly if you were to waste the rest of this. I'm going to show you how you do not have to do that. So before we get started on giving you guys some tips on how to connect these together flawlessly, let's talk more about our second hack. So the first hack was just like we showed you guys, was to slice your image in Design Space in order to have it larger but meet those size restrictions in Design Space. So now the second hack that I'm going to show you is, let's say here we have a sheet of printable vinyl. Well, look at all this space for printable vinyl that we can't use. It's basically wasted. Well, how can we not waste this? So here is how. What you're going to want to do is take some scissors and you're going to cut right where your other design was. And you practically have a whole half sheet of your printable vinyl left. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trick your printer. Now I want to preface this by saying not all printers can do this. So maybe you have a type of printer and you don't have a top loading tray, or your printer is a little bit more fidgety, or maybe it has a couple more kinks in it. Maybe it's a cheaper printer, something like that. Test your printer and make sure this will work, but all the printers in our office, in our studio where we film, this does work, which is amazing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a sheet of thick cardstock and you are going to take some masking tape here, and you are basically going to tape the material onto a piece of cardstock. This will trick your printer into thinking you have a full sheet. The one thing you want to remember is that you want your material to go into your printer first. That is what it's going to print on first. It's going to print this way, this side first. So you want this side of your paper to be going into your printer, the side with the material on it. So we recommend this for printers with a top loading tray. This means that the printer can set the paper in just like this and just feed it straight on through. Printers that feed from the bottom have to go up and around, and it's way more difficult for this to look professional while doing that. So go ahead and line these up. You have to make sure that they are pretty much perfect, and take some masking tape here. Let me find the edge. You know, sometimes that's the hardest part. Take it here, and we're going to put a piece of tape right there. You want to make sure it's even, which it still is. It looks great. And if you need to, you can flip it over and add just a little piece of tape right on the top here. And you want it to barely be on the top here, because this is going through your printer here. So you want it to go through there, and you want to fold it down. Now, as you can see, you have your piece of material that is perfectly taped onto your cardstock. Now, if you have this happening here, go ahead and add a little bit more tape. Ideally, you would have one single piece of tape so you're not worried about thickness. One single piece of tape all across the bottom here. Now, you don't want it to come over the edge like this, though. You don't want that to happen. So grab scissors and cut that off. You don't want that to go over the edge. Again, we're tricking your printer here. Again, most of our printers that we have here, this will work on. Just do be cautious about that. So I'm going to add some there, cut off our little tail, and this looks amazing. Look at this, guys. So you can look how thin that is. That looks perfect. So you can set that in your printer. We would set it right in the back of our printer. It would print out with our print and cut right here on our half sheet of printable vinyl. And this is how you do not have to waste any more material. Now, on to getting this to attach seamlessly. We're going to be using paper today. However, if you're using a printable vinyl, which would be sticky backed just like a sticker, that is even easier. If you would be using a printable heat transfer vinyl, that is easy too. And that is the tutorial that I will link down below for you all that you guys can watch if that is what you are doing. But with this paper here, what you're going to do is you're going to have it, make sure that it does line up before you add anything, and look at that, it does look seamless. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take some tape here, just like so, and we're going to cut it to make it a little prettier. I'm going to cut an edge off there and cut an edge off there. And I'm going to lay this tape underneath the front half of our design. It doesn't matter how many pieces you have, this will work no matter what. And then you will take your other half and line it up first and then just place it right down. Just like that. Just like that, guys. Now you have one solid image there with nothing to worry about. That is how you would do this with paper. Now, if you have printable vinyl, like I mentioned, so it's sticky backed, all you would do is lay one side down. So you would have, let me remove this tape here. I'm going to actually make this tape into like, you know, one of those little sticky things. You're going to set it down just like so. And since it's kind of stuck down on the table, let's pretend that this side has a sticky on it too, just like printable vinyl would. So I'm just going to make this one a little sticky like that as well. Just like that. So what you're going to do is this part is stuck down to, let's say, a frame. Now you're going to being very gentle because the whole back is sticky. You're going to take it and you're going to hold it up at an angle like this to where it's not touching your design yet, you're down on your frame yet, and you're just going to touch the seam part. You're going to make sure that the seam is touching how you want it to touch. And once you get it where you want it, only then can you basically kind of curl that vinyl down to finally lay flat how you want it. So that is exactly how you would do that for printable vinyl. So you would just connect those pieces together the exact same way. And if you didn't like it, you could carefully peel up that vinyl and then again start on that seam and do it again depending on the material or the blank that you're using, which would be like a piece of wood or a piece of metal or something like that, a sign or what have you. So that is how you would do it for regular paper. That's how you do it for printable vinyl. And then again, I'm linking it down below if you would be using any type of printable HTV. Of course, read the instructions on your printable vinyl material because sometimes you have to mirror it, sometimes you do not. So do take that into account. But I hope that you enjoyed both of these hacks for how to beat the size restrictions of Design Space's Print and Cut. So one of the ways again is to make sure that you can slice out your image, and the other way is to make sure you are maximizing your material and not wasting any money by taping it to a piece of cardstock to run through your printer. So I hope that you guys did enjoy these. What did you guys think? I know one of the first things that I encountered when I was diving deep into Print and Cut in Design Space was that pesky size restriction and how sad it made me to think that my projects could not be larger than that. Now, of course, there are limitations to this depending on the type of project you're creating, but for when you want to level up your crafting, being able to know these little tips and tricks that can help you in so many projects is really beneficial. I hope that you did enjoy these tips that I shared with you today. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more amazing content like this, as we do post content all the time. And as always, guys, we thank you for watching. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you have any additional questions on today's training. Thank you so much for joining us today. Click the very first link in the description below to see how you can join the community and help support us at Maker's Gonna Learn. Have a great day, guys. See ya.